All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome to today's training this afternoon. We're going to be talking about filing a DBA for your business. And we're going to talk about what that is, how to get it, and why you would want one. My name is Mike La Charite. I am a gold consultant with Team Sky. I joined Evolution in April, so just past my 6 months. And yeah, let's get started. I'm going to go ahead and mute everybody, just so we start off clean. Feel free to put your questions in the chat. I will try to follow along as we go. And if not, I will definitely leave some time for questions at the end, all right? So let me just pull up the chat real quick and we will get going. Can everybody see my screen okay? All right, cool. So again, we are talking about starting a DBA for your business. First, I have to start with this disclaimer. I am not a lawyer, nor am I a tax professional. This presentation is informational only. It's not intended in any way as legal or tax advice. The information I share is based on my experience here in Los Angeles and California. Details may differ by state and county. In fact, they most likely will. So check your local regulations. And please consult an attorney and or a tax professional with any questions about your particular situation. Okay, now that we got that out of the way, let's start. What is a DBA? So DBA stands for doing business as, and it's also referred to, actually the first time I ever heard of a DBA, it was a fictitious business name, which I thought was hilarious because it just sounds like you're frauding and faking everything, which you're not. It's also referred to as a trade name. And really, what a DBA does is every business has its legal name. For most of us, we're sole proprietors, so that legal name is just our given name. But a DBA allows an entity to conduct business under a name other than their legal name. And it's important because it lets people know that you're doing business under that name, okay? So I wanted to cover what a DBA is not, because these are very important. There's some very important differences here. DBA is not a trademark. It's not a business registration. You're not forming any type of legal entity by doing this. It does not provide broad name protection as some other forms of like incorporation or starting an LLC would. And it also does not provide legal or liability protection. So you talk about a corporate veil sometimes with people wanting to limit their personal liability by starting in a corporation or an LLC. A DBA does not do that because it is not a legal entity. So there's no separation from the person or the entity that it's working for, okay? Hopefully, does that make sense? So when is a DBA required? It's required anytime you're using any name other than your legal name to conduct business. So for us, that really is, if your last name is not in your business name, you should have a DBA, because the purpose of a DBA is to let the public know who the owner is of said business. If I was operating Together Again Travel and something went wrong and people needed to come back and find out who I was, it would be a lot harder to find that information if you don't have a DBA. And while that may be beneficial for us as the business owner, it is definitely not something that you should do, because customers deserve to know where they're buying from, right? It also may be required by banks or other entities to open accounts or provide services. So if you are trying to put your business name on an account, whether it's at a bank or something like Google, they may require proof that you own that business name and that business name is actually operating on your behalf. So that's something a DBA can help with, okay? A couple other reasons why you would want a DBA. Privacy is a big one. Like I said, you can always find the owner of a DBA, but the DBA does provide that first layer of, sort of privacy. Whereas you're not giving your name out to everybody. You're giving your business name. That's the first thing people are going to see online. So there is a bit of privacy that it helps with. It does give you some name protection locally. You'll see when we go through the process that you actually have to search your county and make sure there's nothing similar to your DBA in your local area. So while it doesn't provide the widespread protection that like a corporation would, it does give you some protection locally. It can definitely help to legitimize your business. Not sure about you, but I have run across businesses before that were like, John's Taxi versus something that sounds like, hey, the first class taxi service. Makes me a little nervous sometimes if there's not, there's not a kind of a formal name to it. So it can make you feel more legitimate to customers. And it can also make your name more memorable or distinctive. My last name sucks. Nobody knows how to say it. Nobody knows how to spell it. I'm sure there's a lot of you like that, and that's okay. But who's going to remember it, right? Versus Together Again Travel, that might stick in somebody's head. That's the hope, right? And so it gives you sort of just better branding that people will remember. Can also help you create branches and subdivisions. For example, if you had an LLC that was an event company, and you were first class events, and then you became a travel agent and you decided, I want to include this, but I don't want to go through starting a whole new entity. You can do a DBA for your corporation or your LLC, saying that business is operating under this name. Okay. And then the last one I already talked about, public notification, making sure people know who actually owns the companies they're doing business with is important. Okay. So the next step is, how do we get one? And so these are sort of just the high level steps. We're going to walk through these in detail, at least in LA County here in a minute. And so the first step is pick your name. That is quite a process. I just rebranded my company in the last few weeks, and it took me over a month to figure out a name that A, I liked, B, was available, had the domain names that I wanted. There's a lot of factors to picking your name. So that's step one. And we do have some video trainings on helping with that. I know the mentors have some resources that can help with with kind of coming up with the right name. AI has a lot of things nowadays. So that's step one. Then you need to check availability of a DBA, which I will show you at least how we do it in Los Angeles. Most counties are going to be the same. Okay. Once you are sure it's available, it's what you want, you visit the county website for requirements. So generally, this is not a state thing. It's by county. It's generally going to be the registrar or the recorder's office. Some places combine them, like here, registrar recorders. So that's usually where you want to go, but Google search it, you'll find it. Okay. Big asterisk here. You do not need to pay a third party. The first thing you get when you Google where to file a DBA in your county is going to be LegalZoom, trying to get you to use their services. And there's going to be 4 or 5 other sponsored companies that say, oh, we'll do it for you for $49.95 or whatever BS like that. Okay. You don't need to pay it. It's free for you to do the work. You still have to pay a filing fee regardless. But what those companies are doing is you're going to pay them to do the work and you're going to pay the filing fee. There is absolutely no point to doing that. Okay. So don't do that. Once you find out where to go, you look at their requirements, you do the filing and pay the fee. A lot of places it's online now. When I first started doing DBAs, you actually had to go in person to the registrar of recorder's office. I don't know if that's still a thing in some places, but at least here in LA, and I know in Baltimore, we were able to do it virtually. And then after you're approved, you have to publish for, and again, these are California, LA requirements. You have to publish for at least 4 weeks in a newspaper. Yes, a newspaper. Does anybody even know what a newspaper is anymore? But they do still exist. And you have to publish it for 4 weeks. That is what notifies the public that, hey, this person is operating as XYZ. Doesn't have to be a big newspaper, but it does have to have local circulation. And your registrar recorder's office or wherever you do your filing is going to give you a list of places to call that you can do the publication. Okay. After the publication is done, there's a requirement to file proof of that publication. Most of the places that publish it will file that automatically for you, but you want to follow it, make sure it gets done, because otherwise your DBA may not be, it may not be active. They may take it off. Okay. And then the last thing I want to say is you are going to get a ton of random compliance letters after you file any sort of business, whether it's an LLC, a corporation, or a DBA. All these companies are going to send you stuff in the mail. They're going to look legitimate sometimes. They actually make them look very governmental. But you can usually tell if you look at their domain name, there's not a .gov at the end of it, not government, okay? And these are companies that come out and say, oh, now that you're in business, you have to be compliant by getting these labor posters, by getting this, by getting that. And they try to sell you all these services. Don't fall for it, okay? The government, the Registrar of Recorders Office is going to tell you every requirement that they have. It's not on that list. It is not something that you have to do, okay? So in that note, on that note, I want to just show you, these are the Los Angeles filing requirements, okay? The owner, whoever is filing the DBA, must sign. It must be a wet signature. Corporate officer, if a corporation, for all of us, it's going to be just ourselves as the sole proprietor, okay? You must put the street address of the principal place of business, and the county must be listed. If you're working from home, yep, that's your home address, okay? All owners and their residents' addresses must also be listed. This next one, the notarized affidavit, that does not apply for online ones, but if you're doing something in person, you have to get this affidavit notarized. If the registrant is a corporation, there's going to be a printout from the California Secretary of State indicating that the business is in good standing, okay? Again, not applying to us, but just wanted to mention it. And then here's that filed copy of the statement must be published once per week for 4 consecutive weeks in an adjudicated newspaper in Los Angeles County. Guess what? You click there, it's going to give you about 100 adjudicated newspapers in the county that you can choose from. Doesn't have to be where you're located, as long as it's in the county, okay? And that publication must begin within 30 days after the statement has been filed, okay? So these are the requirements. It's not hard, and most of this is done all online, okay? So I'm going to jump over to a different screen and catch up on the chat here. Do we have any questions so far? I don't see anything. Brittany, I didn't know they still made them. Yeah, my son asked me for a newspaper recently, and I was like, God, where do I go to get a newspaper anymore? It's pretty wild. Tina, can it be a little local shopper paper? Often it can. You just want to make sure it's on the approved list for your county, okay? So for example, well, let's get into that in a second, okay? I'm going to show you the LA list, but you want to make sure it's approved by the county, otherwise it may not count, okay? So this is where I was telling you. So to start the process, Los Angeles County DBA filing, okay? Look, what did I say? First thing, LegalZoom. Second thing, sponsored fast filings. $49.95 DBA, lowest filing price guaranteed. Yeah, no, don't need to do that, okay? File a fictitious business name. Look, lavote.gov. This is the LA County Registrar Recorder County Clerk's Office.gov. It's legit, okay? So we're going to go there. And once we open that up, I have a question. Give me 1 second. What if I'm moving out of state in 18 days? Do I still need to do it where I'm located right now? I wouldn't, honestly. You're moving, there's, so the thing with the DBA is like if you're using a name, you're supposed to have one, but if it's just short term like that, I wouldn't worry about it personally. Usually when you file these things, I think in California, they last 5 years. So you're putting it out there for a while. There's nothing saying that, you can't, if you want to save the name where you're coming, if you're coming back in a couple of years, there's no reason that you couldn't do it. But yeah, I probably wouldn't myself. Again, not a lawyer, but that's what I would do. I'm moving out of California. I do not blame you, Judy. I wish I was right behind you. We spent 4 years in Maryland and it was amazing, but family's here and the kids need their grandparents. So anyway, so once you go to the Registrar Recorder's website in LA County, tells you how to file, who can file. This is the new online filing. Look, here are the other options. If you want to do an in-person appointment, you can do that if you don't want to do it online. If you want to do it by mail, there is a way to do that too. It takes a while, so I wouldn't do it, but it's there if you need it, okay? And Judy, to that end, if you know where you're moving, you may be able to look ahead of time and get this process started before you move, if you wanted to so do that. Yeah, you could look at the Las Vegas requirements, and you may be able to do it online now and just get it all set so it's ready when you get there. Okay. So anyway, we're going to go to new online filing. First thing it's going to do, there's multiple things here. The first one is to file the name. The second one is to provide the proof of publication later. And then the last one is to get a certified copy once all of it's done. Okay. So we're going to click file a fictitious business name. We're going to pick online because that's how we're going to want to do it. And then we are going to just do a fictitious business name statement. In California, if something changes, you can do an amendment to it, okay, without filing a whole new one. When it comes up for renewal, you can also do your renewal right here in the same place. And if you decide, hey, I don't want to use this anymore, you can actually do an abandonment as well, okay? But we're going to go to the first one. This is where you search for fictitious business names in your area. So I'm going to, let's just do mine. Together again. Let's just do together again, okay? We're going to keep it very general, not do the whole thing. And let's see if this will pull up for me. There you go. Together again, travel. I own all 4 of these, okay? Which I will show you, but there they are. You see this, you know, you can't take that name because it's already here, okay? Let's do Jack's Plumbing. I don't know. Oh, there is a Jack's Plumbing Supply. Okay, can't do that one. So you can see, you can search around here until you find a name that works. Hopefully your first choice is not taken in your area, but lets you do that. Okay. And like I said, they expire in 5 years. So if you want Jack's Plumbing Supply, you can wait. It'll tell you right here. It was filed in 2022. So in 5 years, that's going to expire if they don't renew it. You can make a note, come back and, change it or take it at that point if it's not renewed. Who knows? But anyway, once you decide on your name, you are going to verify. Just click here that it's available and hit proceed. Thought that was going to put us there. Let me do. I want to find one that is available so I can actually show you the next page. Okay, Renee's Travel. Cool. We're going to do that. Okay. So we are going to do full name or company name. Okay, so this is you. I'm sorry, this is the DBA that you want. Okay. You're going to put your information. You're going to put your home address. If there's another line, do all that information, confirm email, and then you're going to proceed. Okay. On the next page, it's going to ask you then for all of the owners. It's going to verify. So you're going to have to put in your information again. Okay. And then once that's done, it's going to run a vital check just to make sure you're all authenticated. And then it's going to ask you how many, or, to put in your DBA names that you want. So I showed you, I have 4 of them. Generally, the fee is somewhere in California, I think it was like $35 for your first one, right? But then you can add additional names for usually really cheap, like $4 or $5 each. So if the company name that you pick might have some variation, or you want to offer yourself some flexibility in the future, you can do multiple. I did Together Again travel and events. I did Together Again events. I did Together Again planning. And it's all just to have flexibility if I ever need those, in the future. It saved me money to do them all at once. Okay. So once you put those in, it will have already done the vital check. You'll put those in, it'll charge you, and you'll pay with credit card. And it's done. Okay. I mean, it goes through. They are going to send you an email when it's approved, and you will get something like this. This is my statement here in California. And you can see the file dates, when it expires, who filed it, all of that stuff. And it will show you, these are the first 2 that I did. It'll have the signature. And then on the second page for me, it's going to have, here's business name 3 and 4. So any extras you do, okay? Once you get this, you can move on to publication. Generally in the email, they're going to tell you, hey, here's your certificate. Congratulations. Now you have to go get it published. Click this link. It's going to tell you where you can publish it. In LA, we come to a list like this. And these are all of the general circulation newspapers in the area. I mean, British Weekly, Central Newswave. This is just really fun. There's some big ones like Daily Breeze is in here. Different cities, Culver City. And so at least in LA, I don't know if this is everywhere, but if I were to click on these, it's going to open up with their contact info. And a lot of times it's going to tell you what the fee is. So this one's 30. Let's just click a few of these and see. That one's 45. This one is 65. Okay. So you can see each paper, man, $110. So you can see they vary widely on their publication rates. So as long as it's on this list, you can use it. I tend to pick the cheapest one, or close to the cheapest one. Give them a call, and some of them actually on their websites will even have a way. Let's see where this goes. Maybe don't want to go there. So, like the one that I ended up using for this DBA, I did it all online, even on their website. They had a whole section for DBA publications, and I paid them their fee. They will file the proof for me, and it's done. Okay. And at that point, once it's published, once they file, and we come back here, once they do the proof of publication, you can do this fictitious business name certified copy. And that's basically going to give you a copy with usually the county seal or something wet on it that shows this is legit. This is actually the certified certificate. And that is what you will want to take to your bank or anywhere else that wants that information. Okay. So I know that was a lot of info and I went through it pretty fast, but that's pretty much the process. There's really not much else to it. And in other cities and counties I've looked at, it's been a very similar process everywhere. Does anybody have any questions on why you would do it or kind of what that process looks like? Michelle, thanks. I'm glad that was helpful.